What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here at GSD Studios. First off, thank you so much for checking out today's content. I'll make this extremely fast, but I need to plug our sponsors that make this show possible. Our first sponsor is PerfectStormNow.com, by far the most effective and affordable real estate agent website and database platform in the industry. It is the system I use to sell 50+ homes every single month. Check it out at www.perfectstormnow.com. Our second sponsor is my personal 90-day mastery bootcamp, which is, again, my personal real estate agent mentorship program where we spend 90 days together, 12 live sessions. You get daily access to me inside the program. You guys, we go so extremely in-depth. There's nothing that's incomplete about this program. You're going to get all the tools that you need to go out there and crush it inside your real estate business. Make sure to go check us out, www.90daymastery.com. You can watch in-depth videos of exactly what's covered to see if the program is for you. See all the raving testimonials we have from all of the amazing agents and clients that went through the program. So make sure to check us out, www.90daymastery.com. All right, you guys, let's jump on into today's content. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode interview. Every single week we interview top entrepreneurs and just straight up top badasses. They're out there dominating inside their space. These are people choosing to not live a life of mediocrity, but instead to go out there and create big, amazing, epic lives for themselves and their families, as well as have a big impact on others while they exist. So today, you guys, we got a special guest on the show. Guy, I'm really stoked and honored to have onto the show. Those of you that follow the podcast and know me know that I'm a huge proponent of social media marketing, digital marketing, and Facebook being at least the juggernaut for me and my businesses that I absolutely love. So we've got like the guy on the show today. So our guest today, you guys, he's the CTO of Blitz Matrix, which is a social and digital marketing company. They represent clients such as the Golden State Warriors, Nike, Rosetta Stone. So they're not a small company. I mean, they're representing the best of the best. He's known nationally and internationally for his lectures on Facebook marketing. He's been featured in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, TechCrunch, Fox News, and much more. So really stoked and honored to have Dennis, you on the show, my friend.
Hey, Josh. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to have you on. I'm one of those guys, and there seeming to be more and more of us, but initially it was more rare. But I'm just one of these guys, like, I just get so obsessed and caught up in studying ad copy, and I love that marketing component. And again, with you being the king, if you will, in this space, just excited to pick your brain and have you here, man. This is gonna be a lot of fun. So before we get into what you're doing today, and I know we've got your business partner Logan gonna be showing up and joining us potentially here shortly. But I'm really interested, man, in your journey of like what led you on this path in the first place. If we rewind those clocks, like what led you into social media marketing, digital media marketing, and doing all this in the first place?
Yeah. So what's funny is when you listen to the motivational speakers or the people that are successful now, a lot of them talk about their rock bottom point. And then before you know it, it's Ferraris everywhere. Right? And my story's not like that. Although I had a lot of struggle because I didn't speak English until I was 6 or 7. So math was my way of relating, and that's what I was comfortable with. And so I traveled to math competitions, and I learned calculus when I was in 2nd grade. And I had a perfect math SAT, and I went to math parties. What do you think you do at math parties?
Yeah.
That's what you do, right? And I was cool with it. I was that Asian stereotype person, and I didn't have any friends. And so I just basically killed everybody in the tests. And I found that even though I could get straight A's and I could just blow away other people on standardized tests just by working really hard and all that, and just by being Asian, I think there's got to be like something in there genetically, But I found that, after I graduated, undergrad at SMU with a degree in finance, I couldn't get a job. I interviewed at all these different places, but I had the resume, I had all the scores, I read all the books. I mean, I was a good student, that whole thing. And I'm not going to talk about the suicide and depression, that kind of thing, but I was pretty down. And it wasn't until one of my mentors, who was the CEO of American Airlines, Al Casey, pulled me aside and he said, son, you need to focus on your learning curve and not your earning curve. And you need to focus on relationships, because no matter how smart you are and how hard you work, you need mentors. And that's what opened up my mind about, because I've always thought of things in terms of what you can measure, right? I went to the London School of Economics and I studied economics there, which is the best place in the world for economics. All the Nobel Peace guys for economics go to LSE. But I found that human behavior, why people buy, why people hire a real estate agent, why people select a certain brand over another brand when they're in the grocery store, is because of what they believe in. And so people are inherently lazy. And it wasn't until I discovered that in my own life that just because I had a better test score, I'm not going to get the job. Just because I have more reviews, just because I make more money, just because, like, the numbers aren't alone, because people make a decision with their heart and then they rationalize it because it was cheaper, it was on sale, because, the sports car actually has better mileage. But no, you bought it because there was another reason. And it took learning from my mentors. It took, going all the way in math to realize that there's always two reasons people do something. There's the real reason, and then there's the what makes you look good reason, right? And so when Facebook marketing came along, that was the perfect confluence of all this, because there's the math of all the data Facebook has, right? But at the same time, it's people at scale. So it's social, but it's media, meaning it's at scale. And because of the kind of targeting that you can do, because if you tell a good story in social media and you do it the right way, not like you have to do any equations or things like that. I understand the back end of Facebook. We were just there 2 weeks ago. That's where this Frisbee came from, all these shirts back here. And we're having our workshop in a couple of days. We learn about how the algorithm decides who to show the content to, right? Because, you'll put a post out there and maybe it'll get 10 likes, or you put a post out there and it'll get 1,000. Like, why, right? And if you understand why, then you understand two things at the same time: what the machine's doing and what the people are doing. And so there's both sides of those. It's like left brain, right brain. It's like you've got to be an artist, but you also have to be an engineer. I mean, can you imagine an accountant that's also creative, right? Can you imagine a painter that also can do physics, right? And that's what I think. That's why I think people stumble so much on social, is they come at it from one end or the other. So my story, I've come at it from the math angle. I've wanted to understand. It's like, the Golden State Warriors, our client, they just won the NBA championship. And we've been studying all their posts on Facebook to figure out what's working, the timing, how many people engage with us and share when we win, and how many people engage when we lose, and what the nature of that is. And then, do people buy tickets, and season ticket holders, and how much money people will pay at a larger scale, studying the numbers. It's like, the scene in The Matrix where the guy says, yeah, the green line's down the street. Did you see the guy in the lady in the red dress? I was the one who did that, And I feel kind of like that too. And because we're so lucky and fortunate to be able to spend time with Facebook, like, you can't get these Facebook shirts unless you're actually there. You can't go online, order them. We bring these just for fun, just to our friends and to our staff, because it's like a mark of, we get to work closely with Facebook. But we feel that it's our obligation to teach this stuff. So any questions that people have, we're glad to answer. We don't hide it behind something like, you got to pay like $997 and we'll tell you. We just tell people. Most of the stuff we put out there for free, because what's impacted me. So back to the American Airlines days, I couldn't get a job, and it was my mentor who got me a job. And it wasn't because I was good at math. It was because he believed in me. And it's because of that emotional side. And every decision I've seen since then, every major decision in my life that has created something that's been successful has been because someone else has done something for me, because they believed in me, even though I might have been a piece of crap and, I didn't deserve it. I didn't earn it in any sort of way. And if you look back on your life, you'll see that too. And of course, everyone here on the podcast, that your deals are all based on relationships. But how do you use Facebook to scale those relationships? Because we know it's a relationship thing. Yes, you got to show that you care. You got to be there. You show up on time. You have to have better knowledge. You have to make friends with them. Yeah, I think everyone understands that, right? But there's only so much time. So when people hit that situation, I've especially seen it with entrepreneurs, is they think that they can just work harder. I'm not saying don't work hard. And I'm not just saying, again, the dumb answer to that is, just work smarter. Well, that's a ridiculous one too, right? Well, how do I do that? Do you just think harder? That doesn't make any sense. You can only think at one speed. And So we just found 3 or 4 principles that work in Facebook marketing to drive awareness and drive word of mouth and drive lead gen, drive sales, drive reputation. And it's not a secret. And all those things I'd love to share with you on the show.
Yep. No, we'd love that. So with these 3 principles, though, do these apply? Because, I look at like Facebook and I look at, and maybe this is the wrong lens for me to look at it, but I look at, okay, I've got my personal page, right? And I've got those personal relationships
profile.
and those.
Your profile.
Yeah, your profile page, right? So you've got all those relationships that you're managing.
This is an important distinction.
Yep. And then
they say page. All of us here have a user profile. A page is something that you can run ads against, that you get analytics, that you can integrate with an app, that you can put tabs on, that you can do all kinds of things. A page is only for business purposes when you create a page. And a page has no login against it. A page doesn't have any friends. A page has fans, right? Yep. Users have friends. I'm at 5,000 friends on Facebook. That's the limit, right? But the fan pages that we manage have millions of fans, right? So Josh, I'm glad you bring that up, because that's the most common misunderstanding. And by not understanding this thing, it's not just some kind of random definitional distinction. If you don't understand that right there, you can't be successful on Facebook, because there's you as a user with a profile, something that you log into, you have friends, you do certain things as a user on Facebook, but then you have to create a public figure page for you as a person, for you as a celebrity, for you as an entrepreneur where you have a podcast, for you as a business owner. And then you have another page for your business, okay? Now, if you are a one-person show, if you're an entrepreneur and your company is basically you and all the deals are coming through you because of your relationship, no matter how clever your name is, but if the business is primarily being driven by you and you are the face of the business, then you have to start on Facebook with your public figure page that's tied to your user profile, those 2. And only then later do you set up a third thing for your company page. Most people know the company page and their user profile, but they call that user profile their page. Oh, did you see what I posted on my page this morning? You don't have a page. You have a user profile, and maybe you have a company page. The thing that ties them together, that makes all 3 of these work, is the public figure page. That's what people miss. Because you need, like, all the things that you want to generate business that's based on your personality and what you stand for and your reputation and all this should start with your public figure page. So this is a triad, a tripod, right? So imagine, Josh, you've got a tripod. It's got 3 legs. What happens when you pull one of them off?
It falls over.
That's right. So it doesn't matter which one you pull off. Which leg in the tripod is the most important?
Yeah, there isn't. So
you need all 3. And that's how it is on Facebook. You don't have all 3? Well, you're not going to get too far.
Yep. Now, if somebody doesn't have, and maybe I have all 3, right? I guess I've never looked at it this way, but I know I've got my user profile, and then a while back I saw the benefits of installing Facebook Business Manager, and I've got a business page. And on there, I mean, it's not huge. It's not like the pages that you're managing, but there's almost 30,000 likes on there, and I run a ton of ads and have a good ad spend size for my size of a business. But I've never set up a public figure page. But my business page, I've used it as a public figure page because it's Joshua Smith. It's my face, my name. It's all of that. It's not actually a business, a name. In that case, would you go back through and kind of rebuild it the correct way, even though you have all those likes on there?
Yeah, I still would.
Okay.
The only time you might not is where if your brand name is directly tied to your name and that's it, then you might be able to get away with just your business page and your user profile. But even a lot of us that are in the space that do digital marketing professionally, we still have a public figure page because it represents what we believe as a person from a business context. And if you've got a company, then you're going to have multiple public figure pages. Each of your key people should have a public figure page. Anyone that might tell a story, anyone that's an executive, they should have a public figure page. Because from there, you can disseminate content. Think of a public figure page as like having a website, a personal website. Well, I mean, you're probably, in person, most of us are probably better known in person among our friends. But do you want a website? Well, I mean, no one's going to go to the website unless you generate some traffic, unless you've got an audience that's building, unless you have an email list that will know that you just made a new blog post or what have you. So starting a public figure page is tough because you're starting from a brand new page with no fans on it, right? But if you invest in it over time, it ends up being more powerful than your user profile.
Yeah, love it, love it. So then those three principles that you've talked about, that you've learned, do these apply to your user profile, your public figure page, and your business page?
That's right. Do the laws of gravity apply differently to black people or white people or skinny people or fat people? Is the law of gravity different?
Yep, no, point taken. So,
and I tell you, the Facebook algorithm doesn't discriminate.
Okay. Yep.
It follows the same rules. It's fair.
Yeah, love it. So then, yeah, and I know that you mentioned, with these three principles and about sharing what these are, because it sounds like these are, so ungodly impactful for all of us. So yeah, kind of walk us through what those are.
So for those people that don't have the patience, I'm going to just tell you three, and then we're going to go into them in detail and how they fit together. And again, this is another triad where if you remove any one of the legs, the whole thing falls apart. Okay. And the first one is the 1 minute video. There's a reason why it's 1 minute, and there's a reason why it's video, and there's different parts of this video, or how do you make a good video that takes off, and there's different stats that you look at. Number two is the $1 a day principle for amplification. Why $1? Because that's the minimum. Why not 10? Because we're testing all the time. Why boost posts? Because that's how we get reach and all these other build custom audiences, right? And the third part is your topic wheel, which is how you fit all your content together, how you track where your reputation is, how you track how big your user bases are, how you decide what kind of content to put out there. Most people, Josh, they just put content on social media with no plan at all. They just post stuff. They just write a blog post. They just tweet about something. And then they wonder why Facebook doesn't seem to work, because they're not systematic about it. And then they think that's called strategy. Well, that's ridiculous. You need to figure out what you stand for, and all the content and all of the things that you sell and all of the experiences that you have and all the people in your company and all the things that you've done. You need to put all that into a content library. And the key part within your content, a library is just, think of a library as got, a bunch of books, a bunch of CDs, a bunch of DVDs, a bunch of whatever. You've got to organize all your content, all your stories, all your podcasts, all of your most interesting pictures. You got to organize all that in a certain way by topic. And I'll explain later what that means, but that's the topic wheel, right? So 1 minute video, $1 a day. I don't care how broke you are. Just, don't go to Starbucks for a week, whatever, right? $1 a day, topic wheel. Put those three together. It doesn't matter what your business objective is. If you want to get better known, if you want to drive leads, if you want to close a big deal, if you want to get a job, the same principles work. We've been preaching this thing for 10 years. Facebook F8 first opened in May of 2007. So I've been at it over 10 years now on Facebook. And we've done this thousands of times. People make excuses about why, it won't work for me. It's like the excuses people make for not going to go work out. Dude, just go work out. Don't try to take this pill. It's not the answer. Go work out. It's not that hard. Just do it every day. You don't have to run a marathon every day. Can you spend 15 minutes a day? It is worth the investment, but you got to do it for a few months. And there's no software to buy. There's no consultant to hire. There's no magic thing that you can, I heard so-and-so's got 7 secrets. I can just buy their thing and it'll be automated. There's no shortcut for this. It's a process thing. That's why nobody can sell it. I mean, you can sell software, right? But you can't sell process. So that's why you got to give it away. That's why we're giving it away.
Yeah.
Must not be any good because he's just giving it away.
Right. Yeah, it is crazy how that perception ties, people's perception ties to that. But it's
you didn't make it like this big secret that came from the pharaohs and ancient, Hitler stuff. No, dude, I didn't wrap it up at all. These are principles that anything that's good, Joshua, anything that's good is kind of obvious in hindsight.
Yeah.
People don't do it for some reason.
Yeah.
It's not a trick, right? It's a principle.
Yeah. Well, and then it sounds to me, and I know you're going to go deeper in these three principles, but it doesn't sound like they're necessarily overly complicated and not also time consuming. Like you said, 15 minutes a day. We all can spare 15 minutes a day. I don't care how busy you are.
Yeah. Yeah. you know, just as a way to like rub it into these people that they think they're successful, but they're not willing to admit. Like the older you get, the more arthritic your mind becomes. But you say, oh, but I didn't, you know, I don't have any advanced degrees, and I don't have the size of the team that you have, and I don't have the kind of money that you guys are spending and all this, and the sophistication. You guys have been doing it for such a long time. It's just me. I'm doing this thing part-time. I'm trying to quit my regular job to do this. So they make all of these excuses. And the way that we prove that that's all a load of crap is I say, hey, look at this kid over here. He's 21. He's had no job experience except for working at Pizza Hut. And now he's kicking ass because he's running ads for the Golden State Warriors or for Rosetta Stone or for the local, you know, dentist or, you know, whoever it is, right? If this kid can do it, then you what? You're telling me you can't take your phone and stick it in front of your face and make a 1-minute video about a list of topics. You got a list of 10 topics that you talk about. Oh, I don't know how to make a topic list. What are the 10 things that you talk about all the time to close a deal? Anytime someone asks you what you do, what do you say? It's not like you have to rehearse anything. You've been having these conversations for years. You've already said this stuff. Now say it to your phone or have a friend hold the phone. I don't have time. I need to hire a professional videographer. No, you don't. Just put the phone in front of your face, stick it on the desk or whatever in front of you, and knock out your 10 1-minute videos, post it on your Facebook page, not your user profile. You post it on your public figure page, and you boost it. Boost it for $1 a day against targets that you set up properly inside your ads manager or inside business manager. If you got business manager, great. If you don't, whatever, that's okay too. I mean, I prefer business manager, but some people think it's complicated, right? Is any of that stuff hard to do? Shoot. Oh, it overcomes every single excuse. Oh, I don't have any money. Can you spend $1 a day? I don't have any time. Can you do a 1-minute video? That's it. Do it. Do it, repeat it, test it. Try to get those videos to get a 15-second average watch time. You post a bunch of videos. Do you know how long the average watch time is on Facebook?
No, I don't.
Take a guess.
The average watch time for the average user?
The average video. If you post a video on Facebook on average, now you're better than that, I would think, but the average user, the average page, like any video that gets posted on Facebook, whatever length, what do you think the average amount of time people spend watching it is?
Maybe 30 seconds max.
80% of people are watching videos on mobile. They don't have a lot of attention. So take another guess.
10 seconds.
6
seconds.
Yeah. That's why we say a 1-minute video. Because why would you post an hour-long video or a 20-minute-long video? And besides, a 1-minute video seems easy to do, but it's actually really hard to get right. Because you have to really know what you're saying within a minute. You can't ramble. Like in a podcast, you can ramble on and on for an hour, right?
Yep.
It's actually easier to do a 1-hour video than it is a 1-minute video. You've got to write your notes down. You kind of have to think about what it is. You have to, not like you're going to say it perfectly, but that's what it is. And when you figure out how to do your first 1-minute video, which is your why video. When I was 18, I got my first job doing this, and this horrible thing happened, and now you can emotionally empathize with me. And as a result of that, I learned these particular things, and now this is my business and what I sell. I'm a real estate agent. There's all this kind of stuff. And I believe that, right? I believe that our community is an amazing one. I believe that all young adults should get jobs. I believe that software shouldn't be difficult. I believe that, you know, ultimate frisbees and chicken wings are fun to eat, right? That's how people identify with you. When you tell a 1-minute video, about something you care about, you know? I believe that if you drink Gatorade, you're gonna not get dehydrated when you run a marathon, you know?
Yep. So then with that 1-minute video, I mean, if the average watch time is 6 seconds, I mean, I've got to imagine then you've got to really hook them with that opening statement. So like how do you get it? Like you said, if you can get your average watch time 15 seconds, that's a win. You know, right? How do you then, because you're over doubling the average watch time, I mean, what do you lead with that kind of, you know, gets that attention?
Well, you already said it. It's called the hook, right? So Facebook says if they don't stay and watch for at least 3 seconds, if they keep scrolling by, then it's, and they have to stay for at least 3 seconds to count as a view. So you have to get their attention by, there has to be some kind of motion. You have to do something interesting. There has to be a person in the video, ideally. If you try to use stock art, probably the worst is when we see professional videographers, they have a bumper where like their logo goes across the screen, you know, or they'll just have something like this, you know, going across the screen, or some kind of text effect like that. You're just wasting time at that point, right? So you've got to get their attention, and that's called the hook. The hook is usually 5 to 6 seconds. Then the hook moves into the pain to continue, because once you got the attention, you have to establish that there's some kind of pain by telling a story, ideally. When I was 18, I worked at Subway, and it was the most miserable job I had. You know what it's like when you can't pay your bills and you have to, so you go into it, you have some kind of story so people understand who you are, so they can identify with you, right? So the hook goes into establishing the pain, and then you establish the value proposition, and then you have the call to action. That's the 4-part story sequence. It's the same thing. Come join us. Same thing that motivational speakers use. Same thing that Hollywood script writers use. We've got Logan now.
Hey, Logan. Nice to meet you.
Gosh, me too.
Yeah.
Like our Blitzmetric sign.
Yeah. Yeah, no, right on. Now we were just starting to get into the 3 principles of I guess I don't know if the Facebook marketing is the correct way to put it, but we're just starting to go deep into the 1-minute video here. So then with that, just out of curiosity, Dennis. So because like with Facebook, of course, when you hear all your gurus, and it's so hard to understand and be able to differentiate if somebody's the actual real guru or not these days, because everybody's a guru, right?
You know why they're a guru?
What's
Josh,
that?
You know why they're a guru? Why there's so many gurus?
Just because I guess they can, right? They can sell that image.
They can't spell Charlotte.
Yeah. Yep. Love it, man. But you get told, okay, well, the goal is, okay, yeah, I get the eyeballs on Facebook, but then I want to get them off of Facebook, somehow get them into, opt-in of my email list, whatever that may be. Is that what you're doing here, or do you want to keep them engaged on that? Because at this point, the video's on your page. Are you just trying to keep them engaged with the page?
Well, look, what happens when you're dating, right? You meet a girl for the first time. Are you trying to offer her the ring in the first minute?
Yeah, no.
So you've got a funnel that has to go from, awareness to engagement to conversion. Just like a 1-minute video that tells your story, to something else that talks about your product in another 1-minute video, or to a blog post, and then to something that's asking for their phone number or an email address or what have you, right?
Yep.
Want to talk about that 3-part sequence?
Yeah, definitely. So that's really the power of Facebook. A while ago, Procter & Gamble came out and made the statement that they tried digital advertising and Facebook advertising and came to the conclusion that it doesn't work. And if you approach it with the traditional mindset where you just have one creative that you mass spam or just trying to get everyone to your email in one touch, then yes, you will find it's unsuccessful for you. But the power in Facebook and these other channels is in sequencing, which is what Dennis was talking about, where you have a funnel where you say, people that do step A, then I'm going to send those people to step B, and then those to step C, because that way, all along each step, they're already showing intent because they're engaging with your content, they're interacting with, they're watching your videos. So you therefore know you have a signal from Facebook saying these people, they stuck around and watched half your 1-minute video or 10 seconds of it, more than just the initial 3 seconds, which is what Facebook counts as a view. So that's giving you a signal that they're probably going to interact with your other content. So you show them a few pieces and then they become a warm audience and they're ready to opt in for your service, buy your product, whatever it is. And that's the power that most people aren't tapping into on Facebook. And that's why a lot of people out there are frustrated and make statements like Procter & Gamble that Facebook doesn't work and it's just wasting your money and high CPMs and all these other things. But if you know how to do it and do it the way Facebook intends it to be done, then you'll find that you can get good results.
Yeah. It's also funny, Josh, is that like these folks that are entrepreneurs and they hustle, like you said, real estate agents, they instinctively know, like all of us here, we instinctively have a set of ethics and values where there's social etiquette, right? The first time you meet someone, oh, what's your name? What do you do? And then later it's, oh, we should get together and talk again and have lunch. And then eventually you do a deal or you get married or you hire them, or there's the same kind of sequence occurs. I think people understand that in real life, right? They understand that that's etiquette, that you build relationships over time. If that's the case, then why would you think that online you're going to post something and then all these people are going to call and sign up and buy your thing, right? You know, it's funny. Logan and I, we were in LA a few months ago with some folks who not only they manage gyms, but they manage the marketing for a bunch of professional gyms like CrossFit and this kind of thing. And probably the number one thing that these gym owners have with, especially like January, because people come back from their New Year's resolution, they ate too much turkey, they're fat, they want to lose weight, right? So when these people come into the gym, like, yeah, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I've got this whole plan. I want, you to help me. Those people want immediate results. And so those people that signed up for the 1-year plan at 24-Hour Fitness or whatever it was, by February or March, most of them have already left because for various, like, that's true. So the number one issue that we hear from gym owners is, yeah, these people come in and we have to tell them that if you're going to lose weight, it's not like you get on the treadmill for 4 hours and you just like pound it and like you've lost 20 pounds by the end of your session, right? That's ridiculous, right? What's funny is that then we will have a private seminar with gym owners or whoever, and yet they will think that if they just put, $20 in the Facebook and work really hard on their Facebook ads and Facebook marketing, that by tomorrow they're going to be generating all these customers. When the number one thing they complain about is having to tell their customers, yeah, you need to do this thing slow and steady over time, lightweight touches, 15 minutes per day. Can you do that? So I think it's ironic, right? Because that's what they tell them, and we're giving them the same advice.
Yeah.
Somehow they think online, the world, it doesn't matter. The rules of gravity don't apply online. No, I don't care where the rules of gravity apply everywhere in the universe.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's. I think you get so many entrepreneurs that are impatient, right? And then, like you said, they end up not following their own advice, but yeah, you're totally right. I mean, it's. I mean, you've got to feel when you're going to go out there and make that consumer purchase decision. You got to have that confidence because, like we talked about earlier, the guru that can't spell charlatan. I would say now more than ever, our radar detectors are up more than ever, and it's more important, probably more than now than ever, to, like you said, establish that relationship over time and that confidence and that belief.
Yeah.
So then, you've got that 1-minute video, but then I know that this was the third thing, the topic wheel, but I almost. Because your topic wheel is what you're creating the video about. And then, like you said, people, it's like, what are the 10 things you get asked about constantly? And then you're going to list these out and then you create those into that 10-minute video. But if somebody's having, difficulty on, well, I mean, what sequence do I release them? How often do I release them? How am I, doing each one a day for 10 days and doing $1 a day on each of those? Like, can you go a little bit deeper into that topic wheel and then how to apply it with that 1-minute video?
Let me lay out a little structure and then Logan can add more detail to that. He's more qualified to talk about that part than me. So remember we said that there's a funnel and it progresses in depth from awareness to engagement to conversion, right? And awareness is, let me find out about who you are. This is the first time we met. I'm trying to understand your story, why I care about you. And then, so that's the why. The why is, do I identify with this person? And the how is, once you describe the problem that you've overcome, how do I overcome it? And let me demonstrate some expertise. Let me demonstrate that I'm trustworthy. Let me assemble a series of articles showing that I know what I'm talking about, right? And then the what is your product. The product is some kind of software. The product is a service that you offer. The product is a pack of chewing gum, right? Whatever it is. So if you go from why to how to what, and then you assemble little videos in each of these, now you've got your topic wheel. You've got 3 layers. Why, how, what.
Yeah, it just reminds me so much of Simon Sinek's amazing book. Start with why, but it's so true. I mean, when you study the greatest marketers out there, they all do that. They create that just kind of close tribe from going so deep into that why.
Yeah, and it's going to become increasingly more important because if you only focus on what, which is what most people do, there's only going to become more and more pollution, right? You have to build land or build your real estate where there's land available, right? So to make yourself set apart, if you only focus on your product or your tool, Dennis and myself both get a number of emails each week of people just pitching us on their tools, and who knows how they got our emails, from somewhere about our business. And there's more and more of these tools, more of these products. So in order to differentiate yourself from the cluster, from the herd that's only focusing on the what and then expect people to buy, you have to focus on why, because even though it's a tried concept, there's still so many people that aren't doing it, right? People for whatever reason, don't want to trust the process and don't want to have a long-term vision. People are always looking for the new shortcut bridge. Like, oh, yeah, that worked for my dad going to college or whatever, but what's like the new thing for me that I could just kind of bypass that? Because that sounds like a lot of hard work, focusing on the why and doing this 3-circle thing of videos and sequencing, but if you want to do things the right way, then that absolutely is the way to stand out from your competition. And if you have any kind of long-term vision where you actually want to scale your thing out rather than just drive some sales tomorrow, for us, we've seen this as a way to do that.
Yeah. And so you could end up making lots and lots of videos, but if you know that there are the 3 stages of building relationships, then start with 3 why videos. And maybe you've got 3 different audiences. There's one thing that you say to identify with moms. There's another thing you say to identify with entrepreneurs. There's another thing you say to identify with school teachers or whoever your audiences are that you want to talk to. If you don't know who your audiences are, you need to step back before you do any marketing, right? You need to figure out that a little bit more, because everyone has audiences they speak to. And most people at this point will say, oh, well, everyone. And because they have so little business, they think that if they expand their thing to everybody, then they'll get more business. When actually it makes it even worse. It's actually the focus, right? The riches are in the niches. So if you have 3 why videos, and then you have 3 how videos where you're explaining how to do something, you're demonstrating your knowledge, you're not trying to collect their email address, you're not trying to like pump them up and tease them, you're just straight up saying, this is how I do stuff, this is what's working for me. You're sharing like you're sharing with a good friend. You're not trying to sell them, right? 3 or 4 of those, hopefully more. Then you can have 3 videos that are about your what, and that's when you sell them. That's when you say, it's $199. That's when you say, come in for a free consultation, or my office is over here at the end of the shopping center, right? So just go 3, 3, and 3. Write on a list of paper what those items are. If you don't feel like you got the follow through, or if you're scared of the camera, or just most people are deathly afraid. It's like public speaking. Somehow like the camera's in front of them and they just freak out, right? Have someone else hold the camera. Have someone else read the questions to you. 3, 3, 3, 1-minute videos. How many minutes are we talking about now?
Yeah, so 3, 3, 3 to 9 minutes.
9 minutes. So do you think you could do it? And that just eliminates all the, oh, well, not today because I need to get a haircut. My hair is too long. Tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. No, tomorrow's not a good day. No, I don't want to do it till we fix our website. We're going to have to fix our website first, of course, right? Yeah. No, dude. When's the best time to do it?
Yep. Yep. Love it, man. So then, the question that I'm still kind of unclear on is with these videos, because I know you said with the why videos and then the how videos, you're not asking for emails, you're not asking for opt-ins. So if you're putting these on your page, I mean, because I would just think if I was throwing all these videos out there, then it'd get kind of cluttered. It'd be hard to lead them from one to the next. I mean, how are you able to organize this on your page and make sure that they're kind of seeing the right sequence of videos if I'm not taking them out of Facebook and then putting them into some kind of a funnel?
Sure. There's a few different ways. The easiest is you could do it as a dark post. So for example, we talk about why, how, and what. So perhaps how is better served as a second touch. So maybe I don't want to post it on my page because then everyone's seeing the second touch or something, but you can boost from the page. If you're in an ads manager, then you can only show that video to people that have seen it, your first one. But I really don't think there's much harm in doing organically either, because until you put paid against it, you're only going to get limited reach. Like, people are so afraid of posting content like, oh, what if my video is not good? Then everyone's going to see it. Well, like, actually, no, if it's not good, Facebook's going to recognize that very quickly and you will have no reach and it won't be shown to anyone and there'll be no harm done. So there's no problem in putting 10 pieces of content out there to test and see what's resonating, and then put money against those. And then once you put the money, then only whoever you're putting spend against with your target will see it from there, assuming you don't have some huge organic following of 500,000 people.
And Logan just said something that I think 99% of people are going to miss. So I'm going to say it in a slightly different way. Most people, when they post on their page, they think that all these people are seeing it. Guess what percent of people are actually seeing content that someone puts out there? Let's say you got 100 fans. What percent of people are actually seeing it?
Yeah, I mean, I know, like I said, on my business page, which is about 30,000 likes, if I post something, I'm lucky to get like 300 views. I mean, the organic reach is like non-existent anymore.
So for you, 1 or 2%, right? And that's actually common. Anyone who's above 10,000 fans, if you can get north of 1% organic reach every time you post consistently, that's not too bad, right? Now, most people are probably in the 500 to 1,000 range. and they're probably getting organic reach of 7 or 8%, maybe 10%, right? The ceiling is actually about 30%. And this is what we've discovered, whether it's a big page or a small page, the absolute limit is 30% of whatever your fan base is. We'll see it organically. That's why you got to pay. It's a pay-to-play game. It's been this way for a few years now. That's just how it is. You know, suck it up, accept that's how it is. So there's actually two things. So the first part, I'm going to deconstruct Logan's point because I'm a math guy, into two parts. First part is reach. That's people even seeing what you just posted on your page, right? And let's just call that 2 to 5%. Let's just be nice and let's call it 5%, which actually is kind of charitable, right? 5%. Okay. Now, the 5% of people that are seeing your content as it goes past them, how many people are seeing it from the page? What percent of those people who've seen your content have ever been to your Facebook page?
Probably about the same percentage, right? You know, I don't know. 5.
About 2%.
Yeah.
But let's just be nice and call it 5% again. So if you're taking 5% of 5%, I don't think you have to be good at math to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
It's a low number. So if they think, well, I'm going to post all these things on the page and I'm just going to post 10 things all at once. Well, the only time they're going to see that is if they go to the page and actually scroll down the timeline of the page. But what people are doing is they're consuming your content in the news feed. They're not going to the page. They're going through their news feed. They're not on your page.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter if you make your 9 videos and you post it out there and you're afraid they're out of order, or you want to redo one of them. It doesn't matter, because to Logan's point, you're going to use ads to trigger which video goes where. So if they watched one of videos 1, 2, or 3, then we're going to use the ad system for $1 a day to then get them into videos 4, 5, and 6. If they watch videos 4, 5, and 6, we're then going to put them into videos 7, 8, and 9. Okay? It doesn't matter what order you happen to have posted them. You could have posted your videos in order 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But then the order that they consume is based on the order that you drive in the ads, because when you set up your targeting, you can create if-then statements in Facebook. If they watched video number 2, then I want them to see video number 3, right? If they saw post number 6, then send them to the website where I've got a $20 off coupon, or I have something on the website, or some kind of offer, or some kind of, oh, we have a webinar coming up, or, right? You can decide, just like in email, you can set up sequences. Like if they do this, then send that. Here's an autoresponder. I'm going to send them a series of things based on if they did this, if they didn't. Facebook's exactly the same.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. So then in the I'm assuming, because I've never done this. You know, I'm sure you would probably be kind of comical if you saw what I typically do. You know, but it's like a lot of my stuff is for a free webinar. So, you know, have an ad, whatever that may be, whether it's in Business Manager, running a targeted Facebook ad, takes them right to the webinar, gets them to opt in, and then goes into my email list and gets them to show up. So, but I'm excited to try this, right? The 9 video series, or whatever that may be, just seeing what works to that. But I wasn't aware that you could create a custom audience. Like, hey, if they watch this ad, you can create a custom audience to then trigger that next ad. That's something that I had no idea. That's pretty brilliant. Right?
Think about everyone else here in the audience. If you don't know, if you didn't know that you could actually trigger stuff to come in one order, then imagine what is your likelihood of success. Like if you wanted to pick a lock, like the old master locks, you have like three numbers as the combination, and you just put numbers in random order. How likely are you going to be able to open that safe, right?
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to cook a meal and you decided to use a random number of ingredients cooked for a random amount of time at a random temperature, how likely is that going to work for you? Or you go to Netflix and there's your favorite show, but instead of going to the next episode, season 4, episode 1, then episode 2, but you turn on Netflix and it shows you, you're in season 7 right now, it shows you episode 4, then it shows you episode 1, then you go to episode 8, and that just shows you like random episodes. Like how likely are you going to be able to follow the storyline and the character development and the plot?
Yeah.
And the same is true on Facebook. If you don't sequence, there's no point. Then everything's a one touch, right? And that's why as a marketer, you have to create your content as part of a topic wheel, right?
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. And then
where's it going? Okay, today I thought I'd talk about this one random thing. Well, how does that fit into your overall wheel, right?
Yeah. Well, and then like you said with the recipe, like maybe you luck out and you randomly created this amazing badass recipe meal, but now you have no way to duplicate it, right? There's no path in the math. Like, and then it's like, man, I don't know how this happened now. You know, you have no documentation.
Yeah.
Yep, love it. So then from there, you know, I guess the next thing was the $1 a day for amplification that you kind of talked about. So when we're doing $1 a day, and like you said, I mean, anybody can figure out. I guess if you can't figure out how to afford $1 a day, you probably shouldn't even bother with Facebook marketing, right? You know, but you know, how I mean, do you start your audience? I know you said the riches are in the niches. I mean, do you start if somebody doesn't really know what their niche is? I mean, how broad do they start? How narrow do you get it down? And then two, like what for somebody that's starting out with this, like what are acceptable results? Like how do I know my stuff just doesn't suck?
Sure. So you definitely don't want to narrow your audience too much. And it's a catch-22 is we've seen people that are, you know, like we discussed earlier, they're just targeting everybody. You look at their audience and it's like, you know, 10 million people, or they're targeting like all the US. So ideally a good audience size might be, you know, north of 50K up to 200K. But it depends again on the stage of the funnel in terms of how do I know if this is working or not, if I'm spending $1 a day. If you go back to the funnel where you have awareness, engagement, conversion, different stages have different results. So the bottom, I'm measuring differently than I am at the top, because at the top, if I have a video, I'm caring about my cost per view, because basically I want to get the most views that I can then retarget to the next stage, which is what we were talking about with those audience people that watched at least 10 seconds or whatever my first video. So you have to understand where in the funnel or the sequence your content lies to understand if it's successful or not. Because if it's at the top of the funnel, it shouldn't be driving sales or shouldn't be driving people to your email probably. So Facebook will still give you that measurement because maybe it does. Maybe someone buys right off that first touch. But make sure you understand that along different stages, there's different things you want to be measuring. And the easiest, simplest way to put it probably is by relevancy score. If you're looking at this from the ad set, from the ads manager level, top of funnel, we like to see at least 6, middle of funnel 4, and bottom of funnel 2. Because Facebook, people don't realize Facebook's doing a lot of the hard work for you. They're trying to give you a signal if something's good to put more spend against it, or if something's bad to make some changes. If you notice you have a really bad relevancy score, that means you're getting a lot of negative feedback. People don't like your ad, and it's costing you money. It's giving you high CPMs, all these bad things. So if you're not sure, start there. Start with relevancy score. And other than that, you could just look, if you have a few pieces of content, you put the same amount of spend against them, just look at engagement. If I have 3 pieces and I do $1 a day for 7 days against each of them, so each spends $7, and piece A gets 5,000 engagements, and piece B gets 4,000, piece C gets 10,000, well then, you know, ding, 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 light bulb go off. Something about piece C is different. I should put more money against that one. So just compare apples to apples where you can, and then look at relevancy score as a starting point.
Amen.
And then when it comes up to like once you know, like you've got the winning funnel, if you will, right? That's like really working. You got the audience. You're like, all right, this is a go. You know, one thing that I've experienced issues with Facebook is scaling. You know, right? Like I found, you know, personally, like it's just easier to just duplicate it than necessarily scale it, because I've had scaling issues with it. And, you know, because it's one thing if I'm spending a couple grand a month, but, you know, it's not in this world of, oh man, if I'm spending 10 grand a month and I'm getting result, well, if I spend 50 grand, then I should get this. It's like the scaling just crushes it. So once you get that winner, you know, have you guys, I mean, what are your recommendations from there as far as scalability?
Want to take that?
Yeah, I can start. There's a few different things. One of the biggest reasons in terms of scaling that we stress videos so much is that if you look at your page and you have a different posts, you have some that are images, some that have links, some that are just text, and some that are videos, you'll probably notice, all else equal, your videos will tend to get a little bit more reach. So when I think of scaling, I want to kind of be able to amp up my results. And if I have a video as a first touch, video is the easiest way to get the most audience for the less amount of money. So that's one of the reasons we recommend videos so much, because it's all about retargeting to get results. So I have a good CPA based off retargeting. I want to get more of it. Video is so key, but there's a lot of different things that go into it. You have to do it at each stage along the funnel, because if you just try and put more spend against your conversion ads, well, the audience isn't big enough. So it has to start at the top. First, you have to scale there. and then that'll lead to your second engagement and then conversion. So you can't just say, oh, I have a really good conversion, but the audience is too small. Well, you have to grow that audience by working backwards, right? Going back through where's it coming from? It's a retargeting audience likely. So how do I get more people to my site and more people to watch my videos? So you have to kind of stay consistent with how you're allocating your spend.
So let me put some math on that, okay? So let's say that we're talking, like Logan said, from awareness to engagement to conversion. And we go from 1,000 people to 100 people to 10 people. And let's say you're spending however much per month. And now you want to double that funnel, right? You got a funnel that's working, you want to double it. Most people make the mistake that Logan talked about where they just put twice as much money here at the very bottom. But they need to have every part above be twice as big to support the stuff down here at the bottom, right? Because then you got to go 2,000 to 200 to 20. You've got to proportionally increase at each stage in the funnel at the same time. Because if you try to go 1,000 to 100 to 20 or 1,000 to 100 to 50, the system won't sustain. You're going to blow the engine. There's just not enough, unless you do some crazy conversion optimization. But whenever you run ads, this is a key principle in advertising that almost nobody seems to understand. I don't know why they don't get it, because it's math. There's just no getting around it. It's not like an opinion or anything. It has nothing to do with Facebook or Google or Twitter. You're always limited by either audience or budget, always, no exception. So if you have something that's working and you're putting a certain amount of pressure against a certain audience, let's say that's the right pressure, or maybe you can turn it up a little more. If you turn up that pressure too high against that same audience set, you're going to blow it, right? The frequency is going to be too high. People are going to see it too many times, and then they're going to click spam. Your CTR goes down, your relevance score goes down, your funnel suffers, your conversion rate. You blow the engine, right? If you floor it too hard. And so to Logan's point, instead of trying to floor it harder at the bottom of the funnel, what you got to do is open up the funnel to the next stage. Because at any stage in the funnel, let's say you've got a series of why videos. Well, the whole point of one stage in the funnel is to just get to the next stage, and from that message to the next message. And maybe you created a 5-part sequence. Well, the job of video in the video in sequence 1 is to get them to sequence part 2, right? And the job of sequence number 2 is to get them to number 3, right? In that sequence. The job of video 1 is not to get them straight to video number 5 at the end of the sequence, right? It's just to go to the next step. And everything in relationships that we know, it's about gradual. It's about building love over time, right? Lightweight touches over time is how you build relationships. And if we know that that's how it is in the real world, and that's what social etiquette is, then why wouldn't, how many times do you need to date a girl before you get married? I've heard some people get married on the first date, but maybe, I don't know, it's a number that's bigger than 1, okay? So why would it not be the same in your marketing efforts? And that goes back to, I think, what you just said, Joshua, which is, well, I didn't even know that you could build triggers, that you could build sequences saying, well, if they just saw this one thing, then this other thing. I mean, that's, for a lot of people, their minds get blown, and we're saying, we've been doing this for 10 years. It doesn't blow Logan's mind. He's the pro at it, right? To him, it's like, yeah, well, of course, we've been doing this for such a long time, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's untapped power as Facebook is sequencing.
That's the way that's what Logan said. We're using the system the way it was supposed to be used. It's not because we're magic. It's not because it's a secret. They openly tell you this is how you should do it.
Right. Yep. So then, I love it, man. And the other part that you said is okay, it's always either a budget or an audience, right? They don't know how to budget it and scale it like you just talked about, and or maybe they just don't have the funds to do so initially. But then when it comes to the audience, because let's say somebody does have, the money to throw it at, and they get, I gotta do this equal proportions, but when it comes to that audience, and again, I know that this is probably a tough answer because everybody's audience is so different, but how do you overcome those problems? I mean, is it just creating new different video series and going back to the topic wheel?
Okay. So I'm going to step back to one principle, which sounds like I'm avoiding your question, but I'm going to answer it by explaining one principle, and then I'm going to talk about how do you widen an audience, right? So Facebook's looking at this thing that Logan talked about called relevance score. It's calculated at the ad level. And Google does the same thing. And guess what? It's the same algorithm. In fact, it was the same engineers that designed both of them. Those Google people went over to Facebook, and that's how I know them. So I used to work at Yahoo. I used to run analytics at Yahoo. So relevance score is looking at the intersection between content and targeting. It's saying, literally, is this piece of content relevant to this particular set of users? And how do they determine if it's relevant? Primarily by the click-through rate, by the engagement rate, by the negative feedback. And hopefully the negative feedback's not too high, right? So if the numbers check out, then the system's saying, this is good content. And it's giving you a discount when you run ads, right? That relevance score is not just some random number. That number is affecting how much you pay, right? If your relevance score is a 9 versus a 3, you're going to pay 1/3. Likewise, if you're a 3 instead of a 9, you're going to pay 3 times as much for that traffic, at least, because it's on a log scale, right? So now you want to expand your funnel, and you know that relevance score is the #1 factor to be able to determine how you expand that part of the funnel. Well, your choices are, like we said, content and targeting. Either take something that's working. Let's say you got a piece of content that's working. Video number 2 at the top of the funnel is working. Well, you can take video number 2 and then try it against audience A, B, and C, right? It's working against audience A. You're going to go against audiences B and C that we think are similar to audience A, so we still maintain kind of the same relevance, right? That's one way to do it, is by expanding audiences against the same content. The other way to do it is to say, well, I've got 3 videos right now at the top of the funnel, 3 in the middle and 3 in the bottom. Right now, I think maybe I've got an issue in the middle of the funnel, wherever it is. Let's say I got an issue in the middle of the funnel. So videos 4, 5, and 6, I want to widen the funnel. And I've tried widening the audiences, but actually, given the pool that I'm trying to target, all of the cougars that are in Scottsdale, I guess I've used them all up and there's no more, right? So I need to now go against Panthers and Lions because I'm the Phoenix Zoo. And I want to bring people in from Nordstrom, right? So maybe if I've exhausted the audience, then I've got to create more content, right? So to expand, you either expand against the audience until at which point you limit out, because once you go too far in expanding your audience, your relevance score continues to decline, and it declines until the point where you say, you know what, that's too big, right? And at that point, you need to create related content. And then again, you're not just going to create random other pieces of content. You're going to create content using the signal of what's already working, right? Because if you've got a now remember, this, Joshua, is based on what you just said, where we're assuming you have something that's working. If it's working, then you know that the combination of content and targeting is working. So I'm going to keep the same content, hold it as is, and create other audiences that are kind of similar, because I'm building around something that's already working, right? Or I'm taking an audience that's already working. Let's say it's a big enough audience that it can sustain other kinds of content. I'm going to create other kinds of content that's similar content that's already working, right? So I'm taking I'm taking my audience and expanding the targeting, or I'm taking my targeting and I'm expanding the audience, expanding the content a little bit, right? You take one that you know is working, and you have 2 things that are working, but you hold one the same, and the other one you try to do stuff that's real similar, because you don't want to screw up. You're trying to figure out what's the thing that's working, so I can continue to what's the signal, and that's not a software thing. That's the thing between your ears, right?
Yep. And then because like you talked about, I mean, in my thought process is I would never try to scale it until I found the funnel that is a winner, right? And then once you are scaling, let's say the relevancy score is there, everything's good. Like I've heard certain things like from like Ryan Dice, who's known in the digital marketing world of like, oh, you should only scale your ads by 25% each week, otherwise you'll have scaling issues. And I mean, have you found any truth to that for somebody that wants to, hey man, this is a winner, now I want to increase it by 100% or whatever? I mean, have you found any things there that can also shoot your conversions?
It's a little tough to say. Again, it goes back to the goal. If it's one single piece, then you could, but in terms of scaling up an actual funnel that has multiple stages, and you're going to want to do it progressively, because if you have a funnel, it means you have retargeting and sequencing. So it's going to take time for the audiences to trickle down, for those audiences to populate and get bigger. It's not just going to happen overnight if I just triple my spend at every single piece along the way. But if you have some other content that really takes off and you're trying to different reasons, like our buddy Isaac Irvine, which I don't know if we talked about, but if it's just like a one piece that's, getting you exposure or something, it depends on your goals. Like that would be the instance where maybe you could really incrementally, in a really quick pace, double or increase the budget exponentially. But in terms of scaling an actual funnel with sequences, and yeah, you're going to want to probably follow Ryan's method and do it incrementally. Could be 25%, could be less, maybe a little more. It just depends on how much space you already have to work with the audiences, because maybe you've just been testing and you actually have space to increase the budget, like Dennis said, to turn the knob a little bit further. But if the knob is already close to max, then you're going to need to less incrementally, less percentage wise, and probably 25, slowly increase it.
Yeah. So then the if this then that that you guys kind of talked about, is that all done in the when you're building your custom audiences? Is that all, like all those permissions, all that stuff's done right in there?
Yeah. So within Business Manager live many different tools, one of them being the audiences feature. And you have a number of different custom audiences that you can build based off how people interact with your videos, if they've been to your website, if they've bought your product, if they've added it to cart but they didn't buy. So there's all these, if you have an app, there's dozens of different if-then sequences that Facebook has built in that you can kind of make these custom audiences. They'll take 30 minutes to populate. Facebook will tell you how big it is. And yeah, we recommend starting with video, doing some website retargeting, and then there's, in general, Facebook engagement if people just have engaged with your page or your posts. But yeah, it's all right there. There's custom audiences saved, lookalike. So customs are the retargeting audiences, and those are the ones that you want to become really familiar with.
Yep. Awesome.
In fact, you can't sequence a funnel unless you understand custom audiences. That's how important it is. And even Facebook has said, Cheryl has said, she's the COO, that custom audiences are the crown jewel of Facebook. Because it used to be custom audiences were just people who went to parts of your website or emails that you were able to match back at 50% on average. But a few months ago, earlier this year, they launched the ability to create custom audiences that they call native engagement audiences based on what they've done on your page. So if they've liked something, if they've clicked on something, if they've watched a video, if they've shared, right? Those are all different things that you can create audiences against. And part of the reason why Logan is saying video is that only video allows you to create audiences based on that specific piece of content. I can create a page engagement audience based on people who have liked my page or liked any of my content or have shared it. But I can't say people who have clicked on this particular piece of content. I can only do that on a video. And a video also is, to Logan's point, is the cheapest retargeting audience. Where else can you get a retargeting audience for 2 cents? Tell me, Joshua, where?
Yeah, can't.
Yeah, so there you go. And it's the highest quality retargeting audience.
And then it's so brilliant that you can set those, like you said, if this then that, permissions, like, hey, if they not just only click on this video, if they watch 15 seconds, then boom, it re-triggers into this audience. And that's insane. I'm gonna have to
doing that. Like you talk to a lot of people. You've got thousands of people in your group. You have 30,000 fans. What percent of people do you think are doing that?
Well, put it this way, because Facebook, once you start spending so much money with them, they give you your own Facebook coach there, and I'm gonna have to yell at him because he's never talked to me about any of this stuff, man. I've been coaching with him for 2 years. I'm like, what the hell, man?
Why not spending enough money to get one of the senior sorts of people?
Yeah, I know, right? It's insane, but yeah, I love it. So you talked before about you guys' website and how you put so much free content out there and all of that. Where's the best place for people to go learn more about you, get that free content? And then also, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are listening to this that are just like, man, this is powerful, this is amazing, but I don't want to have to figure it out, right? And then that's why, of course, there's, amazing companies like yours that can just take that off of their hands and just get it done right, and they don't have to go through that learning curve. So where's the best place to get in touch with you and learn more about you for all of that?
Definitely. So 2 things. You can come to our website. If you are a young adult, you may know that the vision of our company is to provide jobs for young adults. So for students, or if you're not a student, if you're a young adult, we offer our training for free. And you can find that at blitzmetrics.com/students. Other people, we sell a lot of different courses. Probably our most popular and the one we have most questions about is our Facebook for $1 a day. So you're just getting started on Facebook. You're a little bit unsure about some of the features. Maybe it's a little bit intimidating to you. There's all these custom audiences and these lookalikes, all these different possibilities. And you don't have much of a team or much of a budget. We put together this whole course about how for spending $1 a day, you can actually drive results on Facebook. If you're interested in that, you can go blitzmetrics.com/FDD and use the code GROWTH to get a little bit of a discount. I think it'll give you $30 off.
Yeah, it goes from $97, I think, to $67.
Okay, awesome. And then do you guys, because I know you've got, people may hear that are listening to this of, well, these guys are working with Nike and the Golden State Warriors, and maybe they only work with huge companies for their digital marketing. I mean, do you guys, offer services for kind of that solopreneur that's doing well, but they're not this big company, but they're looking for a great company to manage this stuff?
I'll take it. So if you want to get someone like Logan and myself, you're going to have to pay enterprise dollars. That's just how it is, because we only have so much time. But like Logan said, our focus is creating jobs for young adults. And that means as they get qualified and they go through our training and get certified up to a certain level, then they can implement certain packages. So if you come through our strategy assessment, then we will figure out which young adult can serve you. And that's creating jobs that we know are going to work, because whatever the system's able to determine is the pain and the thing that you need solved, we will, it's like, imagine you get a free x-ray and then we bring in doctors that specifically know how to work on a heart attack versus a broken arm versus you need, a haircut versus whatever it is. There needs to be that assessment. So it has nothing really to do with, do we have people that are skillful enough? We need to understand what it is that needs to be fixed. And most entrepreneurs and marketers don't know what that is. So they should go through the strategy assessment. If for some reason they just don't want to do that, they want to hire us, then we do have packages where we implement, and those will start at $750.
Okay.
So if you really want someone like Logan and I, we will set up something called a power hour, where we'll go through the strategy assessment. We'll show you what the guides are, what you need to do to prepare for when we have the call to get access to your assets, to look at your ad account. We'll review in advance. We get on the phone, go through that whole thing. So you'd get Logan and myself for $750. Yeah. Which is a deal if because if you don't want someone to maybe take, or maybe you just want someone to tune your account. Let's say you're spending a couple $1,000 a day. You want someone to tune your account, but not whatever. Then that might be a good option. If you want someone to take the whole thing, then you're going to want young adults, and that are programmed to take that, right? It just depends on where you are.
Yep. Well, I mean, to me, it's I think anybody that's serious about their business. I mean, $750 is. Sounds like damn good money spent to me. All right. So then too, I know that, you also speak and you've spoken and not just here throughout the country, but, all over. Is there a place where if somebody ever wants to hear you guys go out there and speak, where you have a list of those? I know you put on different events. You're talking about one here in Phoenix that's coming up. That's $7,500 ticket item. If people want to go see you speak or want to go attend one of your conferences, is the website still the best place to do that too?
I'd say go to the Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/blitzmetrics or follow Logan. He runs our training. So that's fb.com/Logan Young CW.
Awesome. Yeah.
Don't friend me on Facebook. I'm at 5,000 friends. Don't do that.
Yeah,
go to him. Don't come to me.
Yeah. Shoot me a message if you really are interested in coming to a workshop. You're going to speak. You can also email me directly, Logan@blitzmetrics.com. We're going to be holding more in the future, as well as some one-day stops. So we have a lot of plans because we've got a lot of good feedback on these workshops. Even though it will be 115, 116 degrees in Phoenix this upcoming week, I checked the temperature. People are still paying $7,500 and still flying across the country from the beautiful, warm places they live to come chill us up in the desert. So it'll be good. Yeah. And we've got nothing but good feedback. We know it's something a lot of people want. So if you have interest in that, you're wondering about future opportunities, future plans, email me, Logan@blitzmetrics.
Yeah, killer. And those that are watching and listening, we'll make sure that Troy adds all the links, everything that we talked about, all the links, contact information, all that be below. So they're on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever our website, you'll have all those below, so you can connect with Logan and Dennis right away. So, I know we covered a lot of content. But when it comes to Facebook, so just one last question for you guys. And I know when it comes to this, and I know we covered a lot of stuff today, but is there any question as people are interviewing you, entrepreneurs are interviewing you, whatever that looks like, that they never seem to ask you, that maybe we didn't cover today, that you're is so important for people to know?
Well, you asked me about my why. Why don't you ask Logan about his?
Questions people don't ask.
Look, I'll preface it this way, maybe to give them a second to think. In the last month, we have spoken in how many countries? 15 countries, something like that. We have been in the last month, or maybe like 5 weeks, we've been in Sydney, Australia, Melbourne, Dubai, Hong Kong, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Johannesburg, South Africa, London, Portugal, Amsterdam, Iceland, San Francisco, Phoenix, Salt Lake City, and probably some other ones I can't remember, right? We have spoken in so many countries and cities, and to the point where you wake up in the morning, you don't even know what time zone it is. You're working harder than you can imagine is possibly could be done while you're teaching. You're managing a remote team of a few dozen people. There's lots of other things that are going on too, including all the client work and emails like you would not believe, hundreds of emails. And why would anybody be willing to go through all that, right? When you could just get a cush job somewhere else. Well, there's got to be some kind of meaning, right? I gave up a job where I was making a lot of money as an executive at Yahoo, not even counting bonus. I made a few $1 million when I left Yahoo. I walked away from that because for me, there's a bigger mission. There's something more important.
Going back to your original question too, I think the one thing people don't ask me that I wish they would, or I think is very rarely do people come with the approach of, hey, you know what, Logan or Dennis, I'm really in this for the long term. Like, I don't want to get results tomorrow, but I want to still be doing this 10 years from now. I want to do things the right way. I don't want to hack my way there. I don't want to do these growth hacks. I don't want to get rich quick. I want to do things the right way, respect the process. What is the right way based off what you've been learning from Facebook, these other channels? And actually, that's what we're trying to teach people. But very rarely do I find people that really have that long-term vision, are willing to respect the process and to put in work, even if it means delaying getting results, even if it means that it's going to take a little longer to get your content live, these different things, because you want to build your systems the right way and build out your sequences. But if you have that long-term vision, that's what I don't necessarily see in a lot of people. Not to say it's not there, but they don't necessarily make it known. And it would be refreshing to get more of that, because that's the way we view things, and that's where our knowledge will come most in handy, I think, because there's so many people polluting the space with this get rich quick and, you know, these life hacks and these growth hacks. And my Facebook feed is just filled up with people about, oh, how to land clients this month that'll pay you $10,000, and I did it, and that's impressive. I can see you have 1 like on your post. You must be really good, you know. Like, no, I'm not really falling for that, you know. So, but yeah, the long-term view, if anyone's interested in that, you know, we definitely have some thoughts to share.
Yeah, I love it, dude. And you know, the get rich quick, I mean, I know people are chasing it because everyone wants that magic pill, but the only magic pill I've ever found in my life is consistency, you know, and the only way to do it is exactly what you said, man. It's that consistent long-term growth, and you know, yeah, maybe somebody might figure out some little hack that makes them a few bucks today, but it's never sustainable, you know. So
it's going to hurt you in the long term for numerous reasons, which we won't go into right now since I know we're short on time. But
yeah. Yep. Well, love it, you guys. Well, man, I know how busy you guys are, and this has been just such a massive honor. I know that, I mean, I've gained so much insight out of this, as I know our audience has as well. So truly, truly appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy day to be here.
Thanks, Joshua.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.
Yeah, 100%. And those that are watching, I know I end every podcast with this, but information without implementation truly is the start of delusion. Information isn't power. It's taking that information, taking action on it, applying that information that you learn that creates that power inside your world. So don't not listen to this epic, amazing interview and all this great content that Dennis and Logan share with you and not take action on it. Take something that you learn, go out there and take immediate action. As you know, these guys did such a brilliant job sharing with you today. None of this stuff takes much time, you know, right? Just got to be consistent at it and go out there and have a massive impact inside your life and inside your business. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we will see you next time.